And Egypt plans to auction $1 billion in one-year dollar-denominated treasury bills on Monday. The auction will be settled on February 12. Egypt sold $854 million in dollar-denominated bills at an average yield of 3.797% at a similar auction on January 6. Dollar treasury bills worth $1.075 billion are due to mature on Tuesday. Officials say they are trying to diversify the country's sources of foreign debt and lengthen its average maturity. Egypt's short-term dollar-denominated debt had fallen to about $14 billion as at the end of 2018. And growth in cannabis investment has taken away capital in mining as cannabis stocks deliver better short-term returns, forcing junior miners to look for new ways to sell their merits of their projects. In Africa, where miners met this week for Cape Town's African Mining in Durban conference, cannabis companies are setting up projects in Lesotho, where other countries, including Zimbabwe and South Africa, plan to issue license.
Canada's relaxation of cannabis laws culminated in legalization for recreational use in October. Other jurisdictions are following suit or liberalizing their laws on medical or health use, creating an industry that has lured a breed of high-risk, high-return investors. The world's top 3 listed cannabis companies, Canopy Growth, Tilray and Aurora Cannabis, have a combined market value of around $30 billion, and consumers are expected to spend over $7 billion on cannabis products in Canada this year.
Gold equities worldwide haven't done well, but they've done better than the South African ones. And we know the South African issues that we are beleaguered with, heavy trade union activism. We have uncertainty in terms of mining legislation, in terms of the charter, in terms of the MPRDA. We have high costs, huge cost base. Most of the gold mines in South Africa are 2 to 3 kilometers underground. With it come huge costs. Electricity, 10 years ago we were the cheapest in the world, now we're one of the most expensive in the world in terms of electricity. Labor costs, the cost base is just going through the roof. So,
miners operating in Africa, already viewed by many investors as a particularly risky bet, have been doubly hit. And as active investors replace passive stockholders, companies are having to sell the merit of their project to more discerning potential backers. The CEO of Barrick Gold, one of the world's biggest gold companies, said mining struggles to fend off the challenge from cannabis reflected the poor state of the industry in the eyes of prospective investors.
What good does cannabis do? And so, and that's where we should be embarrassed that somebody is prepared to make a choice between those two options.
Majors such as Barrick and companies with projects already in production can better weather the storm. The newest juniors in the riskiest areas are racing to adopt, and some are getting creative.
And it's the last trading day for the week, and it seems to be a profitable one for the Nigerian equities market as the index continues to trade in the positive. At intraday, the index was up 1.20%. Let's bring in Tempo now to wrap up the market week for us. Hello, Tempo. Good afternoon. 1.20% rise was what we saw at midday. What has driven this positive sentiment a week before the election, and do you see this continue into next week?
Very well. It will certainly continue into next week. And the reason why we're saying this is simply because we've got the renewed interest of a lot of foreign investors in the market. So says every analyst that has been putting up one information or the other about the capital market, both at the debt side of the market and, of course, at the equity market. I mean, that has become more obvious now that the foreign investors' interest is really still with us here. And why are they doing that? It is simply because they already kind of understand the policy direction of the incumbent president right now who is running for a second term, and they already have an idea of what the manifesto of the major opposition party also will be. So in terms of the policy direction there, we've been seeing so much of, they're sure that, I mean, this opposition party is going to be pro-market. So it looks like there's a clearer picture of what the economy will look like under each of the candidates. Whoever wins this election, there is nothing that will be strange to a lot of the investors, and that is the reason why we are seeing this kind of sentiment. Again, if you look at the global market, we understand that the FOMC of the United States of America hasn't been hawkish from the last meeting. They were very dovish in terms of their monetary policies, and that gives room for a lot of the emerging markets operators and investors to continue to put their funds in Africa, Nigeria as a major country to actually watch. So the quantitative easing you say in the emerging markets like Europe and co will continue, and that means more money for the Nigerian market. Right about now, we're seeing interest in the banking names, the oil and gas, and of course the consumer goods segment of the market. That's where the interest is. And if you look at the value of the transaction that we've seen so far today, it has surged to some 10 to 11 billion naira. And that's the whole gamut of all of these fund is going to names like UBA, Zenith Bank, where a bit of profit-taking has set in recent times, and of course, Guarantee Trust Bank. These are the key companies that are really enjoying the volume of funds coming from these FPIs. Unilever in the consumer goods segment of the market is also one of the companies that investors are watching. Chimeze.
Well, we have to leave it at that tempo and keep our fingers crossed until next week. Thank you. In the meantime, in South Africa, the 8th of May has been announced as the day when South Africans will head to the polls and vote. President Cyril Ramaphosa made this announcement during his second State of the Nation address in Cape Town last night. Natasha Piri, Channel's television business correspondent, wraps up the market week with reactions to the president's speech.
Our economy was confronted by the reality of a technical recession. Government responded with an economic stimulus and recovery plan that helped to redirect public spending to areas with the greatest potential for growth and job creation.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has prioritized 5 tasks that he believes will turn the country around. These include the acceleration of growth and jobs, improving the education system and developing skills, improving the lives of South Africans, stepping up the fight against corruption and state capture, and addressing the capacity of the state to address the needs of the people. The markets reacted with cautious optimism, according to Chief Economist Landiwe Mahlangu.
The President has said if you like, the right thing that needs to be done. He has actually expressed every intention to do the right thing. But clearly, I think, the market is aware of the fact that that is being said within the context of an election that is taking place within the next 4 months.
It is absolutely astonishing that in the President's State of the Nation address last night, there seemed not to be proper appreciation of the gravity of the state of unemployment in South Africa, whereby we now have over 10 million people that are unemployed. And of those 10 million people, almost 4 million of them are the youths.
The state-owned electricity company is to be unbundled into 3 entities for generation, transmission, and distribution. This has received mixed reactions, mostly negative from labor unions who fear likely job cuts.
There's been absolutely no consultation with Labour on this. For weeks, we've been hearing people talking about breaking up of Eskom. We've had the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises talk about it. He engages the media, and yet unions who are recognized at Eskom, no one engages with them. They read about these things in the papers. So it tells us that our government is lying to us. We can't believe them when they claim that this is a sustainable program in our interests.
I think whatever happens, the market would probably would look at that breaking down of actual Eskom, but would like to see a situation whereby input prices through electricity do not rise beyond what they think is affordable.
With that, we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program and, of course, for the week. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwagu.